Hey, how you guys doing? Welcome back to another episode of Soldiers Talk the Podcast. I'm your host, Sergeant McPherson, and on this show we discuss military topics with current and prior service members. Today I have Stephen with me. Stephen, go ahead and kind of introduce yourself to the people.
Okay, my name is Steve Mckinnon. I'm from White Plains, New York, which is a suburb of New York City. I grew up there, and at the age of 18, I left to go to college in Texas on a in-state tuition deal. I spent a year there, realized I was probably a little bit in need of a few years of growth, and so I decided to join the military, looking at different recruiting brochures and things. I decided to join the U.S. Coast Guard, so I spent 4 years in the Coast Guard, and then eventually went on to college and got a job eventually as a special agent for the U.S. Customs Service, which is now called Homeland Security Investigations.
Yes, sir. So kind of explain the initiation into the Coast Guard. What year did you join the Coast Guard, sir?
Okay, yeah. It was 1974 that I joined the Coast Guard, and it was, the Vietnam War was still officially going on, but basically it was over. They were not drafting anyone at the time, and the combat operations had ceased. So, I had a choice between 3 years in the Army or 4 years in Navy, Coast Guard, or Marine Corps, or Air Force. And I just didn't think at the time that the war was over, that it was worthwhile to join the Army. So I joined the Coast Guard, which was actually actively doing things, even though wars are no. The Coast Guard doesn't depend on a war to be engaged in what they do.
Yes, sir. So I don't know how it was back then, but how was the basic training process for the Coast Guard?
I went to basic training in Cape May, New Jersey. It was about 9 weeks. And at the time, it was pretty grueling. I had been an athlete. I knew, what it was like to go through, a grueling program. Basic training in Cape May was pretty tough. But you deal with it, and you move on, and it was. But I would say the Coast Guard basic training was as tough as, other than the Marine Corps, as tough as anyone else's.
Yes, sir. So I did some. So the Coast Guard basic training is basically the same way you just described it. So it does say you go to Cape May, New Jersey, right, which is the only basic training camp for the Coast Guard. I didn't know that. So it also says here that it's 8 weeks long.
Yeah, I think it was 9 weeks. You had a week of formation, but I think it was 9 weeks of actual training at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it says in the first week you will begin to learn discipline and working as a team. By the first week in, you will meet your company commander and be assigned to a recruit training company.
All right.
That's during week 1.
Right.
In the Coast Guard basic training. So, any significant memories you have from basic training?
No, what everybody wanted to avoid was what they called red belt, which is a motivational thing. If you were somehow deficient, you got put in red belts for however many weeks, and of course that was always added on. But no, I kept a very low profile, and I think I did a good job. I think at the end of it, you got to pick your billet based on your rank and class, and so the top people were the recruit, company commander, and But I think beyond that, I think I was the one that picked the highest. So, I kept a low profile and I kept my nose clean, and
Yes,
it
sir.
was, it was just, I did what I had to do,
Yes, sir. So once you graduated basic training,
Right.
what was your first duty assignment?
Okay, my first duty assignment was the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Wedge in New Orleans, Louisiana. And that was a construction tender. And what construction tenders do is they, you have buoy tenders and you have construction tenders. Buoy tenders obviously lay buoys. And in places where the bottom is too murky or muddy to lay buoys, they build structural lights. And so we built, for the most part, 3 piling dolphin lights. And on that would be the day boards and the light and the battery box with 6 batteries. And, we had to drive the pilings and, put it all together. And we also built what they call range lights, which on rivers, when rivers meander this way and that way, like the Mississippi, you would line up, they would be lined up one way. So if you're coming up the river, you would line these day boards up so that the line in the middle, the white line between the orange would line up one, and that would be the middle of the channel. And then when you made the turn, you'd line them up again. And so It was a lot of construction, a lot of driving of pilings and things like that.
Okay, sir. So while you was in the Coast Guard, which you explained that you was a non-rate seaman.
Right.
So for the people that out there, a non-rate seaman is basically a seaman within the grades of E1 and E3.
Yeah.
So can you explain to the people what made you want to transition out of the Coast Guard, sir?
Well, when I went in, my whole focus was to, gain a little bit of maturity, some work experience, and go on to college after I got out. And so it was never a thing for me that I would become a career Coast Guardsman. But like I say, I was on, the whole 4 years I spent in the Coast Guard was on these construction tenders. And, it was hard work. And you worked constantly. And the thing is that, I was a non-rate seaman. When you came on that boat, if you didn't go to A school, which A school, you basically weren't going to get anywhere because you didn't have time. And so I did all the coursework to become a quartermaster. Quartermaster is a little different in the Navy and the Coast Guard than it is in the Army. In the Army is like what maybe we call it storekeeper. Coast Guard and in the Navy, it's a navigator, semaphore, all he took care of the bridge, and so I did all the coursework for that, but I never completed the practical factors. But really, nobody really got rate on these construction tenders because you work too much, and nobody had time to sort of work on the coursework. I kind of did, but I never really got beyond E3.
Yes, sir. So what year did you get out of the Coast Guard?
1978.
1970.
So I had 4 years, 74 to 78. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So after you got out, what happened then? Like before?
Okay, all right. So I got out, and I, like I say, I had always intended to go to school. I had decent grades in high school, and I had good board scores. So I applied to a school called Northeastern University in Boston. At the time, it was affordable. It's gotten very expensive now. But it was a good place for someone like me who had gotten out of the military, because what they specialized in was a co-op program. And so you spent 5 years there instead of 4. And you spent, 6 months, 6 months in school, 6 months after your freshman year, 6 months in school, 6 months at work. So I got a job with the Customs Service as an investigative aide, as GS 5, working in Washington, D.C., and then I would go from Washington back to Boston for courses, and then back to Washington to work. And then at the end of my graduation, I was appointed as a special agent in Chicago.
Okay, sir. Before you get into that, I kind of want you to explain to the people where you said you was in school, but you got a part-time job as a customs aide, or
customs aide, yeah, right. What they call is a co-op program. There's two things that the colleges do. One is internships, which are unpaid, and so you go to work for a firm as an intern, as a volunteer. It's unpaid. And what Northeastern does, and a few Drexel and I guess Michigan State has but Northeastern has the biggest program, where you go in and you actually get paid work, and so you don't have to work for the government. I just happen to wind up working for the government, but for firms they put you in firms and around the world actually, and you get paid for what you do, and basically when you graduate, the firm or the agency has a chance to look at you for 3 years and decide whether or not to hire you on. And in my experience, most of the people that I knew at Northeastern kept their co-op jobs and made careers out of them, as I did. So like I say, it's a good thing for service, prior service, guys getting out of the military. A co-op program, like I say, if you can get a job there, and they'll put you either in your field of study, either in a government job or a private service job, and it's a good way to transition, to get your degree and transition into either the public or private sector.
Yes, sir. So for the people out there who listen to what he's saying, so you said Northeastern. What?
Northeastern is in Boston.
Okay, so Northeastern University, they offer a co-op program where you can transition and be a customs agent. Did you have to get accepted to that program, or?
Well, we have to get accepted to the school, and the school it's kind of competitive to get in there. It's not an easy school to get into. But once you get accepted, you're going to be put into the co-op program, and depending on kind of where you're at academically, you're going to interview as the co-op, the co-op department. If you're not doing so well academically, they're not going to give you the kind of interview you would get if you're doing well academically. So the job that I was given eventually, in order to get a job in federal law enforcement as a criminal investigator, what they call in 1811, it takes about 5 years of criminal investigative experience. And so, but you can substitute education for that, so you can say I worked in a criminal justice field for a year, and maybe that'll take, but the co-op program, if you did 18 months in co-op, you basically were fully qualified when you graduated to get a job as a criminal investigator.
Okay, sir, so once you graduated and they actually hired you on as a
special agent.
A special agent. So did you still have to complete the 15 weeks of training? I know it's you have to do some type of training in order to become a...
Yeah, you go down to I went down to Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia. And so, yes, there's two. The one was the basic special agent school, which, everybody from the ATF to the DEA to the, IRS to the NCIS, you all took this basic. Now it was about 8 weeks, and then you went, after you graduated from that, you went to your own agencies school, and that would be another maybe 6 weeks or so. So I can't remember exactly how long it was, but 15 weeks sounds about right. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So for the people who out there who might be thinking of transitioning out of the military to become a customs agent, okay, you said what type of, it's like, to be more specific, that's what it is, it's custom agent, right?
Well, that was back in the day, and after 9/11, they merged the U.S. Customs Service investigations with the Immigration Service investigations, and they called it now Homeland Security investigations. So there is no customs investigations anymore or immigration investigations. It's Homeland Security investigations. And go ahead and I'm sorry.
And they work for the U.S.
Homeland
Customs
Security.
and Border.
They
Protection.
work for ICE,
Okay.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the U.S. Customs and Border Protection? Do that fall?
They are the uniformed guys you see at the border.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Customs and Border Protection. Is the uniformed guys that when you approach a port of entry, land border, seaport, airport. These are the uniformed guys that will question you and look at your luggage. Yeah.
So what's the difference?
Well, one's a criminal investigator. Homeland Security investigation. You're plain clothes. You do investigations. Those guys are uniformed and they do just search your things as you come in. Let's say the journeyman level for an agent in Homeland Security is 13. The journeyman level for CBP is probably around a 9.
Okay, because right here, it say entry level customs agent must meet higher qualifications for a GL 05 or above on the federal general schedule. So that's what it's saying right here. So
yeah, so you enter in. I entered in as a 7. Okay.
Okay.
And then you go 7, 9, 11, 12, 13. At 13, you reach journeyman level. So you can get to a 13 without taking any exam or without applying for anything. To make 14, you have to be a supervisor. You have to apply for that, and then I retired as a 15. But yeah, I mean, the CBP, like I say, for them, the journeyman level is probably a 9, and a supervisor is an 11. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, this is steps to become it's a customs agent on here. So it's saying you have to be 21 years of age.
Right.
You have to hold a U.S. citizenship. Mm-hmm. You have to pass a physical and written exam.
Right.
It say you have to submit a background check and a drug test, and you have to attend a degree program and gain experience in a related field. Then after that, you have to apply on the U.S. Customs and Border Protection website, and then you also have to take and pass an entrance exam. Then you have to undergo another background investigation. Then after that, it says you must take and pass a medical exam that includes a vision and hearing test.
Right.
Then you will be interviewed in a structured interview, and you have to take and pass a polygraph exam. Then you have to take and pass another drug test to be hired as a customs agent. And then after all those requirements, then you will attend the 15 weeks of training at the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Academy of the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Glencoe, Georgia.
Right. Now that is, I don't know what they're calling a customs agent, but that's CBP, Customs Border Protection. I worked for ICE. Like I said, I worked for Customs up until 9/11, and then they changed it all around. But it's basically those basic things are the same. You have to get all that stuff, the medical, the polygraph, and all that, yeah.
Yes, sir. So you explained why you was so is it a rank structure in ICE, or what you did? Is it a rank structure, or is just everybody's the same?
No, well, like I say, you are a special agent up until 13.
Okay.
13 we used to call senior special agent. But that's not on your badge. Your badge just says special agent. And even you could be like, I was the resident agent in charge of the Virgin Islands. It just still says special agent on the badge. But yeah, there's a rank structure in terms of how much you get paid. So 13 is the journeyman. So that's how high you can get just without becoming a supervisor. And then a 14 is a first level supervisor. 15 is second level supervisor. But again, none of that is none of that's on your badge. Your badge is a special agent. But yeah, I mean, in terms of what you get paid, yeah, you get different GS levels, general schedule levels.
Yes, sir. So can you explain some of the duties and responsibilities you had as a special agent?
Yeah. So what Customs did was their priorities. One was contraband smuggling, which was basically narcotics. One was money laundering, international money laundering, which is funneling the money back to where, And then the third one was what they called strategic investigations, which was the critical technology and military technology that we had and that other countries wanted, So it could be military parts, spare parts for military, handheld SAM missiles, whatever it was, or what they call dual-use technology, which is just high technology that could be used either in a civilian manner or in a military manner. And so that was regulated, the dual use by the Department of Commerce, the military use by the Department of State, and you need a license to ship this stuff. And so we worked, to intercept or investigate, the movement of this critical technology from the United States to adversaries across the world. The other thing we did was importation of things like child pornography, and the other thing was fraud, which is the use of fraud to get by our import things. So you import this widget, but you say it's the other widget, which is cheaper, and you lie about it, and so that was the other thing that we did. But we use U.S. Customs were heavily reliant on covert operations, and so a lot of what we did was, in the narcotics world or in the money laundering world, we would move narcotics in. We would have penetrate organizations, move narcotics in, and deliver them in what we call controlled deliveries, and then take people down the road, and we would move money offshore into bank accounts and things like that. It was heavily relied on covert operations.
Okay, that's interesting. So, I know you have an experience. How long was you working? How long was you an agent? One more time,
About
sir?
25 years.
25 years. So out of that 25 years, I know it was a experience where you was like what? Can you just explain what experience where it was just a crazy experience, like the most crazy experience you had as a working within those all that time, sir?
I don't know if I could say it was the craziest experience. I mean, it was pretty routine.
Okay.
We would, like I say, I had some crazy cases that were somewhat tangential to this stuff, but yeah, in terms of everything was controlled pretty much, and so I can't really say that there was a crazy thing that happened. I'd have to think about that.
Okay, yeah, something that just stood out to you.
No. I mean, it was to tell you the truth, it was pretty routine. Everything was, we did things the same way for the most part all the time, and we tried to always control for anything that might get crazy. So everything that we did, we had layers of backup and things like that, so that things didn't get out of hand.
Okay. So y'all do, yeah, like it is moments where y'all sees uh, a lot, like a large amount of like narcotics that try to get smuggled through the border.
Yeah, we would actually bring it in ourselves, and we would, we had contacts, with the cartels. They didn't know they were dealing with us, but so we would bring things in, and we'd send somebody down the road, and he could be going to New York, he could be going to Philadelphia, he could be going to Baltimore, he could be going to Chicago, and we would, have the highway patrol or something take them off, and then we would roll them and say, okay, where are you going? We're going this, does a person know who you are, where you're going? And it's, if yes, well, then he had to go. If no, then we just substitute somebody, and we would deliver the drugs and put them in somewhere in New York or like I say, DC, and then you just sit on it for a while and see who came and went. We couldn't let the drugs escape, but we would come in at some point and take the place down and make arrests. But we would try to gather as much intelligence on who was involved in this as we could before we made a move on it. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, can you also explain to the people the locations that you worked as a special agent? Some of the locations you was at?
Chicago and Seattle, and I worked in Montana for a while. Worked in headquarters, and in the Virgin Islands. I worked in the Florida Keys area as well. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, how does that work? So, do they, after you work in a certain location for a while, do you get transferred to another location?
Yeah, kind of yes and no. I mean, usually they're the ones that are telling you, they're going to move you around. So like if you're from, let's say, Chicago, and you get assigned to Chicago, and a lot of guys will not want to get promoted beyond a 13, because if they got promoted beyond a 13, then they're going to send them to headquarters, move them somewhere else. And so people, it's more or less that, not that you initiate it, but they do. They'll move you around. And the way they do that is, if you want to become a supervisor, then they'll send you somewhere else. But yeah, so I worked out of Chicago office, and the Minneapolis office. When I was in Montana, I went to Montana to ski. But I had some really good cases in Montana. It was we could talk for a long time, but dealing with Florida and New Jersey and Hell's Angels in Canada with money flow and drugs. It was a very interesting, exciting period of time. That would have been the early '90s, but. It was fun.
Yes, sir. So you say you retired as a GS
15, yeah.
Okay, so once you retired, then what?
I had some friends that were involved in restaurants in DC, and I invested, and we kind of ran a restaurant in DC and one in Carborough, which is just outside of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And for a while it was a good time, and we made some money doing it. But for the most part, and my wife was in the real estate business, and I helped her out a little bit. But for the most part, I retired, and I had the opportunity, as a lot of people do when they retire from the federal government, to work for what they call Beltway Bandits, which are these government contract outfits out, in the Washington, D.C. area. And I had worked with them on the continuity of operations plan right after 9/11. I worked with EDS, and they offered me a job. But, at the time when I retired, I was just like, no, I don't want to do that. So my wife and I travel a lot, and, I didn't want to be held down by, a job. So I kind of turned that down, and we travel a lot, and we just enjoy where we live, basically, at this point.
Yes, sir. So you said you was a voice commander here at, what's the name of this
The
place?
vice commander at the American Legion.
American Legion. So kind of explain, what is that?
Okay, it's the second in command. You have a commander, you got a first vice and a second vice. So I'm the second vice, or I'm the first vice, it just, we help run this organization, and this is actually a business because we have a restaurant. It was a lot more functional as a restaurant before COVID. COVID kind of shut us down. We lost customers, we lost business, and we had to shut it down, because of COVID for a long time. And now it's hard, like everyone else is suffering from not being able to get people who want to work. So right now, we're relying on volunteers. And so we don't have the kind of operation we did a couple of years ago when this was a full-fledged restaurant. I mean, the place was full all the time. But we're basically a service organization, so we help veterans. Is our main purpose, is to help veterans with this problem or that problem. We have either place them with an agency, we'll give them direct funding for a while if we figure they deserve it, until they can get placed with another veterans organization or an NGO or something. And we'll help them with the VA as well. But that's our main function, is to help. And we, in doing so, we run a canteen and somewhat of a restaurant. And we run this pavilion, we rent it out for events to people. So we generate money, but our main focus is to help veterans.
Okay, so explain some type of ways y'all generate money. So what y'all do, like fundraisers or something like that?
Yeah, yeah, we do. We have oyster roasts and things like that, and just running the canteen, we make a lot of money and we make a lot of profit, and we're a nonprofit organization. So everything in the canteen or anything we do with food or the pavilion as we rent that out, anything that we make gets put into our bank account. And so we definitely use that to pay our operating expenses. We have salaries, and we have to order food, and we have to order drinks and beer and all that stuff. So we do that. But whatever is left over, can be used to help veterans, and that's, like I say, that's our main focus, with what is left over from what we do here.
Yes, sir. So in closing, is there any type of advice you have for any branch they might be in? Any type of advice you want to lead the people with, sir?
Well, I would just say, pursue your dream, pursue what you want to. Always look, ahead, look forward. Take care of yourself, take care of your family, and if if being in the military, learning a skill, advancing, stick with it, go for it, but anything that you do, just hang in there. Just never give up. Hang in there, go for it, put the effort in. I just think that your life will be a lot better when you just, you do that. And I love everybody in the military. I was in there and I had great friends, and I just think, it's a great opportunity right now. Like when I was in years ago, the military was very much looked down upon, but right now, military is very much looked up to. And I would just say, go for it, pursue your dreams, and never give up, and hang in there.
Yes, sir. So, Stephen, I would like to thank you for this interview.
DeAndre, thank you very much.
No problem. And this has been another episode of Soldier Talk the Podcast, you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And please follow the Instagram at the bottom of the screen. And I see you guys in formation.